Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Welcome to our May 3rd council meeting. Would you please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Matt. Please roll call.
Counselor Robinson. Here. Demas.
Here.
Zadi.
Here.
Hickerson.
Here.
West.
Here.
Savage. Vitolo. Halter. Maricomo.
Here. Councilor's first order of business, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the City Council meeting of April 19th, 2022.
So moved, Your Honor.
We do have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's going to move us right into the appointments section of our agenda. Mr. President, members of the council, I submit to you the name of Chad Banks to serve second term on the Beautification and Tree Committee.
Councilors, Chad Banks has stepped up to serve second term on the Beautification and Tree Committee. I'd entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move to approve.
Got a motion by Councilor Zadi. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Robinson. Roll call, please.
Counselor Demas.
Yes.
Zadi.
Yes.
Hickerson.
Yes.
West.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor, you have your appointment.
Thank you, Mr. President. And Mr. President's member of the council, I submit the name of Angela Thatcher to serve second term on the Community Fine Arts Center Board.
Councilors, Angela Thatcher has also stepped up for second term on the Community Fine Arts Center Board. I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So moved, Mr. President.
Motion by Councilor Robinson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Demas. Roll call, please.
Counselor Zadi.
Yes.
Hickerson.
Yes.
West.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Demas.
Yes.
Mayor, you have your appointment.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. This is going to move us right into presentations and proclamations. And to save some time, we're going to skip over item number 1. No, I'm just no, I'm just kidding. This is it's hard for us. This is our police chief's last council meeting. And although he's going to stick around for a couple of days, of which we're going to make his life miserable maybe. But it's come to this time, and Chief Pacheco's been warming me up to submitting his retirement letter for quite some time. And I won't lie, I had contemplated maybe implementing a mayoral veto. Yet I wasn't sure how that was going to play out at the meeting. And then the day arrived, Chief Pacheco presented me with his letter and let me know his future plans, of which I offered some advice, but mostly my support. August 31st, 1990 to May 11th, 2022. 31 years of service. He doesn't look that old. Chief Pacheco began his career at the Rock Springs Police Department as a patrol officer under then Police Chief Matt Bider. If you can imagine, that was quite some time ago. He was then promoted to the rank of a sergeant and then to commander, and 8 years ago, in 2014, he was appointed to the police chief and has served our community very well since. Chief Pacheco's lifelong career in service and protection of our citizens, even while serving in the Air Force right out of high school as a law enforcement specialist, has molded him into a leader who is well respected by our communities. And I say communities because that's plural. Dwayne's been out in every community and has a lot of respect. Not just Rock Springs, but he's worked hard to create communication and the respect of our neighboring communities. Chief Pacheco served on or volunteered on and or helped raise money for numerous causes, including breast cancer awareness, Sweetwater County Prevention Coalition, Public Safety Commission, WildLink, which Chief Pacheco helped and led the force in trying to secure 2 WildLink towers here in Sweetwater County, one right up on our belt route and one going to be constructed out on 14 Mile Hill. United Way, the Wyoming Gaming Commission, Special Olympics, if you're familiar with jackalope jump, that's Chief Pacheco's brainchild. And although I have not jumped in the ice, I have donated, but it's easy to pay the $100 and not have to jump in the ice. But I know the chief does. I didn't see Gina, but I know Ellie did. So, law enforcement torch run for Special Olympics. And I'm sure there's numerous more, but my point is, this shows you the character of Dwayne and the dedication and the passion he has to serve our community. Seems like every time you turn a corner, he's volunteering his time, serving on a board, or doing something to improve the communication in our communities. Chief Pacheco has his entire force recite their oath of office every year, which I think is impressive. Mostly individuals are hired on, they repeat their oath of office and then it's never heard from before. Chief Pacheco set this goal, and each year he does that, which reminds each one of those employees just how important it is to live by their oath. Chief Pacheco set goals of creating more efficient communication with other agencies, including our school district, where Rock Springs Police Department still to this day implements school resource officers to improve the safety of our kids at school. So that being said, it brings great joy and sorrow at the same time to see Dwayne take the next step in his life. Yet we wish him, his wife Gina, and daughter Ellie the very best on their new adventures in life. And I've known Dwayne for many years as a coworker, department head, and a good friend. We enjoy the same hobbies, mostly fishing and weapons. Not necessarily in that order, but Chief Pacheco and the entire Rock Springs Police Department have evolved into a well-respected group of professionals under Dwayne's leadership. And I only see this department on a path towards continued success. Great bunch of people. They've come a long way, and they're going to go a long way. It's very hard to find the right words or select a parting gift for someone so special and who has spent the vast majority of his life serving and protecting our communities. But it's with great honor that we, the Rock Springs City Council, present you with this token of our appreciation. And it reads, "A true leader has the confidence to stand alone, the courage to make tough decisions, and the compassion to listen to the needs of others. One does not set out to be a leader, but becomes one by the quality of their actions and the integrity of their intent. And in the end, leaders are like eagles. They don't flock. You find them one at a time." Congratulations, Chief, on a job well done, and may you find complete and continued happiness and success as you move on with the next chapter of your life. We've been saving it for a long time. Well done. Yeah, I was everybody on blindfold. But it's tight. Yeah, what a great person, great police chief. And usually late at night, it's usually Mr. McBurnett, Chief Pacheco, Chief Wansley, and myself sitting around hashing out how to save the world or find $10 million. I thought about writing a book after my exit, but I don't think anyone would believe the conversations that we've had over the years.
They have been interesting, Mayor.
Chief, turn it over to you.
Mayor and Council, thank you very much for the gift. It's well appreciated, and I thank you very much for the kind words, Mayor. Just want to say a few words and really want to thank you and Council for your support. I watch other police agencies and cities struggle with societal issues, and we're extremely blessed to have the governing body that we have and the community support for our police department, so appreciate that. It's been my honor to serve as a peace officer in my hometown for the past 31 years, and I'd like to say that they've all flown by, but some years have been slower than others. But where does the time go? My wife tells me I'm the luckiest person she knows because I love my work. Early in my career, it was all about my fellow officers and I. And as I promoted, it was about the officers, the detectives, and then the entire department. I'm extremely proud of where I started and how I will leave the agency. Succession planning has always been a long-term goal, and that will be realized. I'd like to thank my family, friends, for their endless support, my wife Gina, my children Christopher, Daniel, Ellie, along with my parents and my mother-in-law, my daughter-in-law, my grandkids. They're awesome. People always ask what keeps me going, and it's very simple. A strong faith, a loving family, and friends away from my law enforcement family. Finally, I have to thank my staff, Heather, Matt, and Bill, for holding me upright, and my leadership team, my sergeants and corporals, second to none in this state. Our non-sworn support staff for all that they do, and finally, my line-level officers that are out here. They're the ones that are in harm's way for strangers. They put their lives on the line every day for strangers. And I pray for their health and safety of all of my officers and my staff as they protect and serve this great city. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And what a great family. And yes, your family, Heather, we should have given her a plaque too. No, great camaraderie and partnership. It's been a pleasure and look forward to the future. Good luck.
Your Honor,
Yes.
could
Go
I
ahead,
say a couple words? Hand me the
Councilman.
box of tissues just in case.
Right.
Hopefully I won't need them, but,
Some right over
oh, do I? Oh, I do. Good. My wife says I cry at, dog food commercials, so, she's not lying. Chief, it's been a long time. So you started about 9 months before I did. I ended about 2 years before you did. So the mayor was talking about retirement advice. I don't have any advice for you, but I do for Gina and Ellie. He's got time to make breakfast now, lunch, dinners, change the litter box if you've got a cat, pick up the dog poo, and run any errands that you need ran. You guys don't even have to leave the house anymore. Chief, in all seriousness, though, we've worked together for roughly 29 years. And through that time, for the most of it, there have been times when you and I agree, and just as many times when we disagreed. But having said that, on the night of my retirement, you were there. And I think that goes a long way to say what kind of person you are. You know, even though we've got our disagreements or we've had our disagreements, I still felt that I could go talk to you. And I think that your department has benefited from that. And I agree. I think that the future of the department is going to be fantastic. And I think they owe a lot of the future success to what you've done in the past few years. So good luck. Enjoy fishing and making dinner for your family.
I just hope he doesn't have time to fish and he stays out of my holes. He's got things to do. Counselors, anybody else wish to speak? Feel free.
It's getting too sobby in here. I can't follow that, but I wish you well and congratulations. Thanks for all you've done.
Yeah, I look forward to good things tonight, and I'm sure that will happen. But it's been a fun journey, and I look forward to even more. Moving on with presentations and proclamations. Item number 2, we have Casey Quinn here with Blue Peak introduction, Wyoming Government Affairs, which will take action under Ordinance 2022-06. Casey, go ahead and take it over.
Thank you, Mayor Como and members of the council. My name's Casey Quinn, and I am the Blue Peak Government Affairs Rep for Wyoming. As you know, we are pursuing a franchise agreement here in this wonderful city of Rock Springs, and I just really want to tell you guys what our company's about. I'm probably going to breeze through some of these to get a little redundant. So who is Blue Peak? Blue Peak is actually formerly Vast Broadband, and they've operated for about 20 years in South Dakota and Minnesota. They have a extremely killer track record, and they have accolades showing that as well, which is why last year GI Partners acquired Vast with the intention to expand and rebrand into new markets as Blue Peak, markets such as North Dakota, Oklahoma, and Wyoming. They also picked up Rich Fish, who is currently our CEO, but he has a stellar career in broadband. We're excited to form these long-term relationships with the cities that we go to. We want to be community partners. We are very open and transparent. We don't do any work in the shadows. We're very much in the forefront all the way up to the executive teams. They come down to the cities. They want to be part of the communities as well. As far as communication with the actual cities, I'll cover that in a future slide, but we are very open, especially to the communities. One thing that we are offering, aside from just an advanced technological item, is that we are a new broadband provider, which means we are competition. I grew up in Cheyenne, Wyoming, so I know as well as anyone that communities in Wyoming are often passed over for larger cities, and Blue Peak doesn't believe that's the case. Our execs, they're guys from Nebraska, South Dakota. Everyone in the team is typically local. We believe that places like Rock Springs deserve the same amenities as Chicago, LA, New York. So we are powered by locals, from sales to managerial positions, construction, if we can, if there are construction crews within the city. We like to fill the ranks of our subcontractor to do that. So if anyone in construction is listening, please reach out to me. We are fiber optic, which we believe is the future. In the same way that coax has been the supplier of broadband for the last 30 years, we believe fiber will be for the next 30 years. And as you can see, our current Wyoming markets, we broke ground in Cheyenne about 6 months ago. We broke ground in Casper just a couple weeks ago, and we expect to break ground in Laramie and Sheridan this month. So what is it we actually sell? So fiber to the home. Given how it is designed, fiber requires less electricity and is also easier maintenance costs, which translates to cheap as dirt costs on customers, which is how you manage to get 1 gig up, 1 gig down for $50, 2 gigs for $65, and 5 gigs for $100. And these are symmetrical, which means not only are your download speeds 1 gig, but your upload speeds as well, the data that you're putting out into the world. You will not have Zoom calls that are going out. You're downloading your video games faster than ever. It is the peak of broadband. And we also offer cable, up to 136 plus channels, 3 simultaneous streams, plus the ability to purchase up to 10 total and 50 hours of cloud DVR recording, plus the ability to purchase up to 500 total. And these include local channels as well. So what makes Blue Peak a little bit unique is that we offer cable. A lot of fiber companies might, get a government check or something, go into a new community, build the area, then leave. We, want to offer cable, but we also want to offer that 5% video revenue back into the city. We think it makes it show that we have a commitment to the city and that we want to build the community. So I'm just going to show you a couple of our high-level designs for 2 similar, cities in terms of population that we're doing in Wyoming. You can see Mears, that sign, that is our subcontractor. They are interstate, but as I said, we try to fill the ranks of Mears with local companies if we can. So this is Laramie's high-level design. As you can see, and you'll see this with Sheridan too, if you live in the city limits of where we get a franchise agreement, there is a 99% chance we will be at your home. We want to overbuild the entire city so that is accessible to every single person. And it's a lot of fiber, Laramie. That's about 100 miles of fiber, and that's about 13,000 homes passed. Sheridan is about 90 miles and 8,000 homes passed. And these are initially shared with the city engineer as we start to build them out, and this happens after the franchise agreement is approved. So in the event that the franchise agreement is approved, first we create a high-level design, as you just saw, for the city of Rock Springs, which then we would have a city planning kickoff meeting with the engineers, kind of get to know one another. HBK, our engineering firm, meets. Members of Blue Peak, like myself, come and meet with the city so that we can understand how to best work with one another. Then we collaborate with the city, go on a deeper dive, actual CADs, looking at the streets, that sort of thing. Then we do walkdowns. We send people throughout the city to actually look at the area. It's kind of a proactive approach for engineering and construction. And then we do construction based on the permits being released and then activate new customers. So that everyone is aware of what we're doing during all this, we have a pretty robust marketing plan. This is a piece of that. 30 days out, we deliver a notification card to the homes, notifying them that construction will happen. 15 to 25 days, we send out something kind of indicating what Blue Peak is and reminding of the construction. 10 to 15 days, we send out what kind of looks like an FAQ about our construction. And then 3 days out, we put door hangers on, and all these things have numbers that allow people and residents to access Blue Peak. And then on the final day, we put out notices. So we try our absolute best to keep everyone in the know and the public. This is our executive team. They aren't some guys out in New York. They are nearby. They like to come by, make sure everything's working well. They fish out here. And then here's our team of various VPs and directors. And our GI partners. So I'd like to thank you guys. I would like to say I grew up in Cheyenne, Wyoming. It's a big deal to come to these cities and get to offer something so unique and cool, bringing us into the future. I've done some work in Rock Springs. I've had friends that went to Western Wyoming College, and I think it's a great city. And I really look forward to the opportunity to get to work with you guys. If you guys have any questions, please ask.
Casey, just first off, I think my question would be, and definitely we appreciate the interest in Rock Springs. but I'm going to say we're maybe a little bit of reluctancy based on easements around our alleyways and the like, and just how the construction would take place to put fiber to a home. We've seen cases in the past with utility companies, mostly fiber, that just come in and free willy just start trenching and boring, and we have, well, this is a guy you're going to deal with right next to you, Mr. Cowsich, because we have numerous areas where our infrastructure's been damaged and our utilities easements are tight. What's the plan? How does that take place?
I mean, we do work extremely closely, you know, depending on the city, whatever they want as far as communications. If the city engineer would like to meet with us weekly, we will. I'm extremely accessible as well. Anytime there's ever been an issue, say building out in Cheyenne, I get it handled within a day. You know, we do go through easements, of course. In each city, it's been about 50-50, the other half being aerial. We try to mitigate any and all damage. We got guys out in the field to make sure things are going well. We've also got experience doing this now in Wyoming, you know, starting with Cheyenne and now moving to other places. And we get tighter and tighter every city. Even
Yeah.
we've changed our marketing plans, all that sort of thing. So yeah, we will be going through easements, but we make a point to, you know, be conscientious that people care for their easements and that there's things there that matter. And, you know, in the event that anything was ever damaged, even though that's not what we want to do, we pay for it, we get it fixed, and we deal with it right away.
So when you're talking about aerial, when in some cases maybe the city doesn't have ownership of those poles or the like, you're working out contracts with existing utility companies to hang?
Yes, yeah, we work with Pacificor, Black Hills, all the, you know, Montana, Dakota.
Okay, counselors, question?
I had the same question.
Just curious, when you're looking at Sheridan and Laramie, what's like your build-out time for communities our size and similar?
Mayor, assuming weather isn't the major inhibitor, which this last year, I can't say I was in Rock Springs, but it was one of the warmest, nicest winters I've ever experienced in my life, and so we got a lot of work done. Generally, we expect 2 to 3 years. If things go really well, 2 years. If things get pushed back a little bit, 3.
Any other questions, council?
I'm just thinking, when I started council, we were talking fiber to the home in
Yeah.
a different realm. Now it's kind of finally coming about, which
It
is,
was
takes
major
time.
conversation
Yeah.
back in that day, just trying to get fiber here. But we appreciate the interest that you have in Rock Springs. And by all means, I think communication, utility locations prior to construction, maybe sitting down and spending some time meeting with Mr. Cowsich and his staff makes good sense, so we can avoid some catastrophes like we've had in the past. But appreciate you taking some time to come down and tell us who you are and what you're all about, and we wish you well.
All right, Mayor, Council, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, item number 3, councilors, we have Economic Development Week coming up May 9th through the 13th, and we have the Honorable Eric Bingham here with us tonight. Got a lot of stuff going on, Eric.
Yes, we
Before
do.
we read the proclamation, tell us what's going on.
Sure, you bet. First of all, I want to say congratulations to Chief Pacheco. Appreciate your service with the city and getting to know you in the last year. As a former peace officer, thank you for your service. Appreciate it. Mayor, and now that you're retired, there's plenty of, you can come to our events at the Economic Development Week, right? So Economic Development Week is the 9th through the 13th. Miss Kayla McDonald has organized all these events. She's done a great job. It starts off on Monday, May 9th with Miss McDonald and myself on Johnny K in the morning, discussing economic development projects. Then on Tuesday, May 10th, there'll be a Ladies in Leadership Business Mixer that goes from 6:30 to 8, and that will be in Green River at 823 Uena Drive. I hear they'll be serving wine there, so, and then also on Wednesday, May 11th, will be the Orbis Advantage presents Our Values, a noun or a verb. It'll be a virtual training. And then on Thursday, there'll be an Impact 307 Sweetwater County Innovative Launchpad Entrepreneur Panel that will be at the Western Wyoming College, Rock Springs campus from 11 to 12. And then on Friday the 13th, there'll be a Digital Marketing Presents Online Business Fundamentals, also another virtual training. Another thing that we couldn't fit into Economic Development Week that's really important, especially for the City Council, come join us on May 18th, and that will be at Western Wyoming Community College, and it'll be a discussion of panel, Workforce, Economy, and Industry, and who's going to be involved with that is Western Wyoming College will be putting it on and sponsoring it. Also will be food served, and Genesis Alkali will be there, Rocky Mountain Power of Wyoming, Terra Power, and I'm going to see if I can pronounce this correctly, Shishi Jam, former Jenner, and then Sweetwater County Assessor Dave Davis will also be there, and it's discussing business expansions, industry expansions, and such that will be occurring. So I've passed out for City Council the list of events, and just appreciate everyone's participation. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Eric. Some exciting times, and to kick off, we have a proclamation from the City of Rock Springs that reads, whereas the International Economic Development Council is the largest professional economic development organization dedicated to serving economic developers, and the International Economic Development Council provides leadership and excellence in economic development for communities, members, and partners through conferences, training courses, advisory services, and research, in-depth publications, public policy, advocacy, and initiatives such as the Accredited Economic Development Organization Program and the Certified Economic Developer designation. And economic developers promote economic well-being and quality of life for their communities by creating, retaining, and expanding jobs that facilitate growth, enhance wealth, and provide a stable tax base. And economic developers stimulate and incubate entrepreneurism in order to help establish the next generation of new businesses, which is the hallmark of the American economy. And economic developers are engaged in a wide variety of settings, including rural and urban, local, state, provincial, and federal governments, public-private partnerships, chambers of commerce, universities, and a variety of other institutions. And economic developers attract and retain high-quality jobs, develop vibrant communities, and improve the quality of life in their regions. And economic developers work in the City of Rock Springs within the state of Wyoming. And now, therefore, it be resolved that I, Timothy A. Como, Mayor of the City of Rock Springs, do hereby declare the week of May 9th through the 13th, 2022 to be National Economic Development Week in Rock Springs, Wyoming, and remind individuals of the importance of this community celebration, which supports expanding career opportunities and improving quality of life. And we hope everybody gets out and partakes of some of the events. As we well know, the best time to promote economic development and increase our marketing buy-in is at the time when we are seeing the economy in kind of a tanked position. We got to ramp it up. We got to look for diversification, and SCDC and Economic Development Week is one great way to get out there and promote new business entrepreneurs and bring a new tax base into Wyoming. So thank you, Eric. We have a proclamation for you.
Oh, okay. You gotta get reelected somehow.
Thank you. Take care. All right. That sums up our presentations and proclamations, and we're going to move on to petitions. One item under petitions, Ryan McGuire, owner of Peak Disposal wishes to speak on ordinance 2022-04. Ryan?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to address the ordinance because I feel like if it gets passed as it is, the recycle center is not going to be prepared for the volume of material that they'll receive. The way I understand it is once the third reading is complete, it's going to go into effect. And if Mr. Brubaker's plan is even half right, the volume is going to ramp up significantly, and I don't think they can handle the burden. In addition to that, I think we should hold off on the ordinance until the equipment has been secured. When Mr. Brubaker did his presentation, he was just going for a grant in hopes that he could purchase equipment and do construction. None of that stuff has been secured yet. And if we were to start taking in these recycling commodities, it's going to be pretty tough for them to do construction on that facility while we're bombarding them. So for that reason, I'd like to hold off on the passing of the ordinance. And I would also like to address some of the wording in the ordinance. I referenced this at the special meeting, but I really think we need to set a minimum fee for what this curbside recycling will cost. My reasons for that are, number one, to keep everything equal and not turn the curbside recycling into a weapon for competition. And secondly, by setting a minimum price, it's going to make it a profitable situation for the trash hauler. And that will keep guys from doing things on the cheap, putting out poor equipment and poor trucks and maybe not adhering to it like they should. So having that minimum price is gonna make it to where it's profitable and it'll be more likely to be sustained. My last thing is, I'm concerned that the recycling center, regardless of best intentions, may not always be around. And so I'm looking at spending probably pretty close to $100,000 to ramp up for this curbside recycling with no guarantee that I'm gonna have a place to take this stuff. And everyone feels like, oh, it's gonna be great. We get the grant, we'll get the equipment. But if the last couple of years have shown us anything, nothing's guaranteed. The equipment could break down, the commodity price could get really low. Right now, Mr. Brubaker's driving this pretty much single-handedly. What if something happens to him? Who's going to keep this thing afloat? I think if you're going to mandate that the trash hauler has to provide curbside recycling, the council ought to commit to keeping that place open, put some skin in the game, and provide insurance to the hauler that we're going to have a place to take this stuff once we establish this customer base. I'll
Hey,
get to
could you
that.
just hold off? And if you need to speak, you come up under petitions, you use the microphone, you state your name, and please remove your hat again in this council chambers. It's called RASPECT.
Well, I'm gonna wear my hat. You wanna have to check the rest of me?
Go ahead, Ryan.
Anyway, I appreciate you guys hearing me out. And at the very least, if we could pump the brakes on the ordinance so we could work out some of the other things or get some of the council's opinions on this. I'm committed to helping out if that's the council's will with this curbside recycling, but I'd like some of this stuff addressed before we get the cart before the horse and start punishing the recycle center with commercially collected recyclables.
Well, Ryan, I think you make some good points. I did speak with Mr. Brubaker, especially on one. I had the same concern over time to make sure that if we were collecting the recyclables, they didn't just show up there and we didn't have equipment or a place to store them. So the suggestion as we move forward into the resolution or the ordinance to make amendments would be to make it effective January 1st, 2023. And if we have it at that point, we'll move it forward and can act on it. And if it needs some work, by all means, the city council will make some suggestions and we'll table it until we get it right. In regards to the fee structure, I'm not quite sure that the city will get involved with a minimum fee just because we don't control the fees. That's more of a private sector thing, but that discussion can be had as well. But nonetheless, you make some good points, well taken, and we'll take that into consideration once we get to the ordinance.
Your
Mr.
Honor.
Mayor, I have a question. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
My question is, if we were to kick this around after it's been tabled and try to get some things resolved, how do I go about working on the ordinance? Do I come to the city council meetings and go back and forth, or how does that process look?
You don't necessarily need to. You can work it through the city council, emails and the like with comments, which you have done. And I think we're all on the same page. We had the same concerns when this came forward. We're not sure if and when the grant comes through. The question then with inflation and how hard it is to get equipment, then how long does it take to get the equipment for the sorting and the like? And that's always a concern, but we have a small facility over there, and we did not want to have you folks gathering that material up and stockpiling that. So you make good points. And somewhat of a cart before the horse kind of thing, but I think everybody's excited to get it moving. And I think we can set a date of January 1st, 2023 if we have the rest of the information set. And if not, we'll table it until it looks good, and we'll go in that direction.
So 2023, does it start over with the ordinance being read 3 times, or do we just jump right into the third reading?
Therein lies the question. I would say no, and my legal counsel would say yes. There's a difference between what happens when a table ordinance or a resolution is tabled, and we don't want to go there because that is a differing of opinion. But Rick, what's your thoughts? Do we go back on the reading of first reading, or will it stay on a third reading?
Your Honor, I think if we table it now, then we will either have to do as we did with the resolution and bring it off the table at the next meeting with changes, perhaps an effective date. If it's tabled again, the effect of that, just like with the resolution, is that it's defeated, and it can be brought up again at any time, but it will have to be re-agended, just like the resolution. That is my opinion based upon my review of the rules.
Well, the most important thing is to make sure that we have it right, and I think this city council has the same concerns. And Councilman Zardi, did you have something?
Yeah, just some comments. I do think maybe we do need to pump the brakes a little, table it, and kind of work some more things out. One is really in the fees and the structure of the fees. I mean, we do control the fees within the ordinance, and we set a maximum. I'm free market. I want the free market to handle it and determine the winners and losers. But with the franchise agreement, we're already meddling with that, and we're screwing it up. So now we're in a situation where you have potentially a big behemoth of a company who can pretty much probably do this with no charge. And you got smaller companies who probably can't.
Yeah.
And so you're really shifting the balance here and tinkering with something that, once, and I know I'm going to sound like one of those, but once you get government involved, we always screw something up, and it just always try to add more regulation or whatever to try and fix it, and it's just a cycle of errors. So I do think we need to look at the fees and really kind of and look at what needs to be done there. The cart before the horse thing was something that I had talked to as well. I think you and I had emails back and forth on that. And so I do think we maybe need to slow down a little bit. I do believe when Devin first presented this, there just needed to be an intent or a show of willingness from the city to move forward with this for the grants. So I really don't see a need to pass anything at this point. I mean, I think we're more than showed that we're willing to consider this and move forward with it if everything falls in place. But I do think there's still some work that needs to be done on this that I'd like to kind of discuss. in further detail.
Yeah, I agree, Councilman Zadi. I think the biggest thing, like I said, is we wish it to move forward, but we want to make sure that we do it in the best interest of everybody involved.
Okay.
You know, I agree as well. I mean, the sorting machine is one piece of it as well, but the facility to house that is the other piece. So I understand your concerns and I agree with them. So I also agree with Councilor Zadi. We ought to pump the brakes a little bit and let the cards fall before we go down that route.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time, and reach out if you guys want to talk about it.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate your input and for taking the time to come down and discuss it. Being one of the collectors and the players, we'll keep the communication avenues open and we'll move it when it's ready.
Okay, thank you.
We're still under petitions. Anyone wish to address the city council on any issue, this is your time to do so. Any issue. Okay, hearing none, I'm going to close the petition section. Councilors, we're going to move on to the council committee and board reports. We have 3 items. 1, the Parks and Rec Advisory Board meeting minutes of March 10th and 22nd, 2022. 2 is the Joint Powers Telecom Board meeting minutes of March 24th, 2022. And 3, the Joint Powers Combined Communication meeting minutes of March 28th, 2022. And councilors, I would ask, are there any other committee reports or board reports that wish to come forward at this time? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the council committee and board reports and place on file.
So moved, Your Honor.
We do have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Okay, councilors, moving on to correspondence. We have 3 items under correspondence. A thank you letter from International Days regarding the city sponsorship of 2022, July 9th, in Bunning Park. 2, the letter from the International Day Setup Committee requesting our assistance from the Police Department, Streets and Parks and Rec Department for the International Day event on July 9th. And 3, a letter from the Rock Springs Chamber of Commerce requesting assistance from the Streets Department, pickup of bags and garbage filled by volunteers during citywide cleanup through the month of May. Councilors, if there are no questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve the correspondence and place on file.
So moved, Your Honor.
We do have a motion. Do we have a second? Second's been called. All in favor say aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Okay, we're going to move on to bills and claims. Item number 1 under bills and claims are the bills and claims for May 3rd, 2022. Councilors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilwoman Demas?
I make a motion to approve the bills and claims for May 3rd, 2022.
We do have a motion to approve the bills and claims for May 3rd, 2022. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. All in favor say aye.
All right.
Any opposed?
Abstained.
Let the record show. Item number 2, salaries for April 22nd, 2022. What's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilwoman Demas.
I make a motion to approve the salaries for April 22nd, 2022.
We do have a motion to approve the salaries for April 22nd, 2022. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, councilors, moving on to new business. New business item number 1 is an approval of the preliminary budget for the city of Rock Springs for the period ending June 30th, 2023. What's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilman Zadi.
just want to thank the department heads and Matt, especially, and Alex for all your work on the budget and knowing where we stand and where things sit right now, all your efforts to help and work towards getting this in balance as best we can. We still have some ways to go. It's been a hard year, and it's going to continue to be, I know, and I don't think anything's going to look up here for another little bit, but we need to do all we can to provide the services everyone comes to expect from the city, with the understanding that there is a lack of funding that's going to allow us to do a lot of that. So just need the understanding of the community and everything as well. And again, just thank you for all your hard work. getting this together right now. So,
Well stated, Councilman. Council, what's your pleasure?
I'll second that. I think he moved.
We do have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 2 is a request from the Finance Department for permission to apply for the 2022 State Homeland Security Grant Program to purchase and install ballistic blankets and egress doors in the city council chambers. I wonder why. Council, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilman West?
move to approve this request.
We do have a motion to approve the request. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, item number 3 is a request from the Engineering and Operations Department for permission to fill a vacant street maintenance worker 1 position. Councilors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilman Robinson?
move to approve this request.
We do have a motion to honor this request. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 4 is a request from Christy Austin for permission to hold a block party on June 18th, 2022, from 5 PM to 10 PM on Sundance Lane. Councilors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilman Zadi?
move to approve that request.
We do have a motion to honor this request. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And item number 5 is a request from Sweetwater Speedway for 8 malt beverage permits for the Sweetwater July 4th, 2022, for the Sweetwater Speedway races on May 27th through the 28th, June 17th through the 18th, July 1st through the 2nd, 2022, from 5 PM to midnight, July 4th, 2022, from 11 AM to midnight, and July 23rd, 2022, from 2 PM to midnight at the Sweetwater Speedway Dirt Track. Councilors, don't make me repeat that again. What's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilwoman Demus.
I make a motion to approve this request.
We do have a motion to honor this request. Do we have a second? Second's been called. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Let the record show. And item number 6, request from Square State Brewing for permission to transfer their malt beverage permit to Green River to cater the Trail Days celebration on June 4, 2022, from 10 AM to 5 PM at the Wilkins Peak Bike Trail System, which will require the approval by the Green River City Council. Councilors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
President,
move to approve this request.
we do have a motion to approve this request. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Let the record show. And we're going to move on to resolutions. We have 2 resolutions instead of 22 resolutions. Item number 1, Resolution 2022-54.
A resolution accepting and approving a communication site lease agreement with Union Telephone Company and authorizing Timothy A. Como as mayor of the city of Rock Springs to execute said lease on behalf of the city of Rock Springs.
Councilman, what is your pleasure?
Your Honor,
President West?
I've got a question. I hate to put Tyler on the spot, but I'm curious. I've seen in other locations like Pinedale, I've been to Arizona, where they sort of camouflage the tower, where it looks like a pine tree or something in the area. And I'm curious if you guys have done that and/or why you don't do it more. I appreciate that.
No, what we usually like is if you stay at the back of the room.
Just shout.
Wear a hat and just shout. That gets
Next
things-
time, I will try to accommodate you in that request. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you very well. Can
No,
you
you're
repeat your
good.
question?
A lot of the times these are, unless you're Counselor Halter, who's not here and an IT world guy, but they're kind of an eyesore. And I've been to other communities where they sort of camouflage them with the neighborhood, where they make it look like a pine tree or something like that, where it doesn't stand out as just a big piece of communication equipment. Have you guys done that, and/or what is the process to get that done, or why isn't it done more?
Well, to be 100% honest with you, it always comes down to dollars and cents. It's just, it's very expensive to go about camouflaging a tower, because we can use a monopine, a pine tree as an example. You have to accommodate the added structural capacity to add all the weight of limbs and the artificial pine look. And that just, you get into significantly more engineering costs, as well as the cost of the material to camouflage. So, that's kind of where we stand on that. When communities ask for that, we try to work with them in their requests. It is something that can be done. The reason that we're interested in this location in particular is because it is a commercially zoned parcel. So we figured that, a use by right lattice tower would be the right thing to apply for at that time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's one, I think in DiBernardi's yard right across the way that.
Correct.
It's not going to be much different than that. I don't think we got much feedback from the public, with the exception of maybe one family. But I don't know. It's interesting to me. I would think that you'd get a lot less kickback from the community, especially in residential neighborhoods. I mean, you look at the one over by the junior high school, and it looks like a transformer standing there in the middle of all those residences. So.
And I understand your concern. I mean, it's a mixed bag, without a doubt. There's people that, I guess, don't have an issue as much with a communication tower. Maybe they see the benefit more than the look, and then there's others that think it's an eyesore. And I can see both sides of the coin, I suppose. I would say that we're kind of in a tough position here, because we are actually on the DiBernardi Tower today, and we did structural analysis on that tower to accommodate the equipment that we need to deploy in the city of Rock Springs. That would put that tower above and beyond what it can support today, which gets into even more cost of, does it make sense for Union to pay for an improvement on a structure they don't own? And that's kind of pushed us to this application and this location in general. One thing that I can say that is beneficial from the way we're looking at things is that this tower will be able to accommodate other co-location opportunities, which would hopefully decrease another company coming in front of you and wanting to deploy another tower in the same area. We'll be able to accommodate at least 2 other carriers on this structure.
Yeah, I understand the need and the reason for it, and I support that. I think that should be required in certain areas of the city, that are in the middle of residential neighborhood. I think it's going to be a great improvement for that area, because it is lacking, but I can't imagine it's that much more expensive to incorporate, but I'm not an engineer. I just think it'd be nice to see, personally, so.
Any other questions? Roll call. Or did we have a motion?
No.
No. What's your pleasure, council?
I'll move to approve Resolution 2022-54.
We do have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-54. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second has been called. Roll call.
Counselor Hickerson,
Yes.
West,
No.
Robinson,
Yes.
Demus,
No.
Zadi,
Yes.
Mayor Como.
Abstain. We have a 3 yes, 2
No.
no. So the resolution does pass. The reason I am abstaining is the engineering firm of which I'm employed completed the survey map. Okay. Thanks, Tyler, for coming down and answering some questions. And maybe as money gets better, you can erect a pine tree around it, and we can I have seen those, and I can tell you, I totally agree with what Counselor West is saying, but I've seen them so large that the pine tree actually is much taller than the surrounding pine trees, and they're going into Jackson. There's one on the ridge over there, and it looks like gigantor. But it makes good sense. I've seen them hidden and decorated with different items that make a good fit in the community. And like Council President West said, I believe we had only one complaint from that
That's
area,
all,
and it was,
that's all that I was emailed one response.
yeah.
And the concern there mostly had to do with property value. And I did bring that up to some other folks at my home office, and there isn't, from what I've heard, and I haven't done the research, but I don't think there's a lot of supporting documentation out there that says a communication facility near your property actually decreases that value. On the other side, there might be less interest, but I guess that's neither here nor there.
Okay, appreciate your
Thank you all.
your time.
Appreciate it.
Councilors, item number 2, Resolution 2022-55.
A resolution approving a public parking space lease agreement with the City of Rock Springs and Square State Brewing PC to provide for the placement of an outdoor dining area in 3 parking spaces located adjacent to its establishment.
Councilors, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilwoman Demus.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-55.
Councilors, we do have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-55. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second has been called. Roll call.
Councilor West,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Zadi, Dickerson,
Abstain.
Mayor Como.
Absolutely not. It's just, these people are just troublemakers.
That's a fact.
Yes, I approve. I hope we have a good summer with people getting out and some activity downtown, and look forward to people having the opportunity to partake of some events. So excited about some changes this summer. Council, that's all we have for resolutions. We're going to move on to ordinances. We have 3 ordinances. First 2 on third reading, third one on second reading. Ordinance 2022-04, third reading.
Mayor and council, I'm having difficulty with the vote taken on the resolution. I do not believe that resolution to approve the lease passed. We have 6 council members present tonight. 3 council members voted yes, 2 council members voted no, and you abstained.
So
So it's an even split, essentially. There has not been a majority of votes to approve the lease.
this is what happens when we have councilors vacate. So an even split defeats the resolution.
There has to be a majority of the council present to approve the resolution, and that did not happen. We had 3 people vote yes, 2 people voted no, and you abstained.
Does the majority need to be,
Your Honor, I believe that the resolution needs to be passed by a majority. Mr. Zadi, do you disagree with that?
I don't know, I just kind of Googled, and Wikipedia said something a little different, but I'm looking at, as reliable as that source is. I was looking for something a little more reliable just to kind of confirm, because
here we go.
Well,
I thought it was.
I'm reading our rules. I mean, I think that on any any resolution or any ordinance, it takes a majority of the council to pass that.
Yeah,
Majority of those present.
but your concern is that we split it 3-3 because of mine
Your
abstention?
abstention, yes.
I don't take it that way. I take it as a 3-2 vote in favor of the resolution.
It's unfortunate that these novel questions have come up twice in the last two meetings, and I
Yeah, true.
apologize.
True story. Good thing we didn't table it.
It might have been easier. D4.
54.
MRSC, they give a scenario of 2 members vote yes, 2 members vote no, 1 abstains. The matter does not pass because the abstention does not count as a vote, and there is not a majority in favor.
May I ask what you're referring to?
Just the website here, the Empowering Local Governments, MRSC.
I don't think that's probably a good website for us to refer
Yeah,
to, Councilor
let's-
Zadi.
I'm just looking for different things here. Just, I looked in Robert's order.
Give me one moment. I apologize.
I don't read it that way in Robert's rule, but I would hate to go backwards now. Recommend a table for the majority of the council to be here to act on it, but that would require a special meeting as
Your
well.
Honor, we've already voted to defeat the resolution. I think that we could call for a motion to
Reconsider.
postpone, to suspend the rules for a moment and then move to table the resolution. But I would have you entertain a motion to postpone the rules and to reconsider the resolution, either to table it or reconsider it tonight. Just to make sure that we're clear on whether or not we have a majority to pass it.
I would agree. I think it would be better business to make a motion for reconsideration. We've defeated it, from what you're saying.
I'm sorry, I'm reading it. I apologize again. What?
Process.
I would call for a motion to abstain or suspend the rules for a moment, and then make a motion to reconsider the resolution that was just defeated, and either ask that we table it or pass it. But I think you need to suspend the rules.
Just wanted a pine tree.
And I want a chicken. Let's see which one of us gets it first.
I think the pine tree wins.
Yeah. If I may, Your Honor, under Robert's Rules of Order, an abstention is considered a no vote. So essentially, we have 3 yes and 3 no votes, and therefore, there's no majority, and the resolution does not pass. So if we want to reconsider the resolution, one of the things that the council could consider, if I may, is a change of circumstances. If something were to change between now and the next time the resolution were to be brought up, it could be brought up again if something changed.
Like a pine tree.
Well, something material relative to the contract. Or you could reconsider it tonight, but I think that you have to suspend the rules to do so and make a motion to reconsider the resolution based upon what you know now, and take a vote on it tonight.
But the question, the issue is that I don't see the vote changing.
Well,
I can't vote, and, I mean, I have a,
I understand. Then I think the effect is then that the resolution fails.
I guess I'm not entirely clear on why we need a motion to suspend the rules.
Well, because we've already called the resolution up and defeated it. So the business of the resolution has been completed. And so if you want to reconsider the resolution, then there has to be some process to do that. So you either, since we've already defeated it, you have to suspend the rules momentarily in order to ask that it be reconsidered. Otherwise, if we simply follow the rules, it's done and we don't consider it any further.
I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
And we need 2/3 majority of the present councilors to do that.
Maybe the votes will change. We don't know if they'll change, but we do have a motion. Is there a second to suspend the rules?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, rules suspended.
Okay, now make a motion to reconsider the resolution that was just defeated.
Counselors?
I'll move to reconsider
Thank you, Councilman Zahn.
Resolution 2022-54.
We do have a motion to reconsider Resolution 2022-54. Is there a second for reconsideration?
Second.
Second call. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Reconsideration.
Now, you can either table it right now and wait to see if there, if there are some accommodations that can be made, if we can discuss this with the company, or you can take another vote on it and see if it passes this time.
Your Honor,
I'm afraid what you're going to say. Councilman Robinson.
it's nothing about chickens or pine trees, but I would move that we table this issue.
I agree. We do have a motion to table Resolution 2022-54.
Second.
We have a second. Roll call on the table.
Counselor Robinson,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Zadi,
Yes.
Hickerson,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Mayor Como.
I believe I should still abstain from the table. I abstain. Therefore, Resolution 2022-54 is tabled. Will have to be reconsidered once we have a full council to meet the majority rule. If something doesn't change by that point. And Tyler, is Tyler still here? Oh, I don't know what your time frame is, but we'll have to reconsider, and if need be, we may have to call a special council to make sure that the entire 9 of us are present, it sounds like. And we won't charge for any of that entertainment. Normally we do, but we won't at this point. Now, I believe we're on Ordinance 2022-04, third reading, correct?
Yes.
Under suspended rules.
Of which we still have suspended rules. I'd entertain a motion to unsuspend rules and get back to the original rules.
I'll move to reinstate rules.
We have a motion to reinstate rules. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It seems like the last couple of meetings have been somewhat of a test of Robert's rule. Ordinance 2022-04, third reading.
An ordinance amending Article 4.2 of the ordinances of the City of Rock Springs entitled Garbage Collection and establishing a citywide disposable waste recycling program.
Councilors, third reading, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilman Zadi?
I'd vote to table ordinance 2022-04.
Councilors, we do have a motion to table ordinance 2022-04 on third reading. Is there a second?
Second.
Second's been called. Roll call on the table.
Counselor Demas,
Yes.
Zadi,
Yes.
Hickerson,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Mayor Como.
Yes. And item number 2, ordinance 2022-05 on third reading.
An ordinance amending Article 7.1 entitled Building Code of the Ordinances of the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming.
Councilman, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor,
Councilman Zadi?
I'd vote to pass ordinance 2022-05.
We do have a motion to approve ordinance 2022-05 on third reading. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been called. Roll call.
Counselor Zadi,
Yes.
Hickerson,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Demas,
Yes.
Mayor Como.
Yes. And item number 3, ordinance 2002-06, second reading.
An ordinance creating Article 1111, Clarity Telecom LLC, vast broadband franchise within Chapter 11, franchises and right-of-ways of the ordinances of the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming.
Okay, counselors, it's great that we could provide some level of entertainment for Chief Pacheco's last meeting. With no further business to come before the city council,